Talks, True Talks. What's hidden out of sight, I bring into the light, right down to the bone where the truth stands alone. Tell it like it is, if it's her words or his. Speak the truth, leave the rest, cause this is the place where there's no BS. True Talks, True Talks.
True Talks, True Talks.
Thank you for joining me once again. My name is Jasmine, and this is True Talks. In this episode of the series of What Do Men and Women Want in Relationships, I have asked my guests to do the show in a sense for me. I've asked them to write questions that they would like to ask the opposite gender. But what they don't know is while they were writing, I wrote some questions of my own, what I call wild cards. And I'll ask them to draw those, whenever I feel like it. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and let's begin. Who would like to start?
I'll go.
Okay, JC.
I'd like to ask the ladies, are you comfortable when you're with a lover asking them to perform or to do something for you? Or do you just let them take charge and let them ravish you?
Ooh.
You want to answer?
You want to?
You go.
I have no problem expressing my needs. No problem at all, because I think that's so important. And I really want the man to express his needs, because it's going to just make it better. That's how I look at it. It's going to bring us closer together. And if we don't, we're going to go find it somewhere else. I mean, we're not going to be happy if we don't tell our needs, because, maybe that's it. Maybe I need to have a lot of multiple partners, because that would happen, because I would go out and find it. So I'd rather give you a chance. And then if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. That's all right.
Well, and we don't, from a male's perspective, I don't always, each woman's different, each erogenous zones might be different on that woman. So without some guidance sometimes, I might try to perform what I've done on other women. It might be a complete turnoff for you. So
Yes.
for me, it's nice to have some feedback.
Yeah.
For me, it feels like it's a language that you develop over time. So I don't know
Well
if I
said.
would do that with a lover in the first time, because it's like a kind of a developing thing, and I don't know the person, and we're still feeling into each other. And then as you evolve, you start like kind of getting into it and finding each other and developing that language, hopefully, because that's what gets it more interesting. And perhaps then can I throw a question?
Yes, please. I was going to
Go
ask
for
you.
it.
Then my question to men are, what makes you feel comfortable to express your fantasies?
Well, for me, it's knowing my partner and having a bit of a track record. Like you said, I don't think I would do that with a first-time lover. It'd be someone that I had a track record with, that I'm comfortable with, that I know what she enjoys and she knows what I enjoy. And I think there has to be a level of trust in there to be able to do that.
So may I ask then to Fern and JC, back in the day when you were young and you had a one-night stand, nobody lived that fantasy right then and there and got what they wanted? Seriously? Am I alone? Seriously? Seriously? No.
Well, it
With
depends on
an
I'm sorry,
individual,
go ahead.
have you ever chosen that individual for that particular fantasy without really, having
yeah.
longevity? Okay.
Oh yeah,
Just wondering if it went that way
yeah,
too.
definitely. Sometimes
In the day.
Yeah, sometimes I remember one time being in Cuba, and I was passed as Cuban, right? Go figure. And so I took that opportunity to kind of full express myself, and I found a lover that was totally no match for me in regards to my emotional and needs mentally, but he was a perfect fit sexually, because he was meeting a certain fantasy I had about submission that only he could meet because of that particular circumstance and who he was and how we would be able to play.
Right.
And I knew I was going to fly off and he couldn't follow me, so, so that works.
You vixen, you.
Have a return ticket.
A return check.
You're staying, you're Cuban.
That's great. All right, and Cassandra, do you have a question?
Oh, sure do. Okay, here we go.
Just one, right
Just one. If you could choose between penis sex or oral sex, what would be your favorite?
Wow, that's tough. I'll wrap myself around that. That totally depends on the mood. And that's it. Yeah, I can answer it that quickly. It's a mood thing. I think so much of sexual encounter with a good lover is just where are we meeting now, and where's the energy flowing? So that's it for me.
And would you ask a question, please?
Yeah. What about taking men on as projects? I've run into women in my life I'll give you a perfect example. A friend of mine had a new lover, and he was all excited about her, and I went to meet them, visit them. And when I'm alone with her, we were doing a little shopping at a grocery store, and I asked him, how's it going with my brother? It wasn't exactly my physical brother, but my brother on the planet. And she said, oh, it's fine. He just needs a little work. And what is it with women who, because I know women are relationship driven, but it may not apply to you personally, but I see women doing this. It's like, yeah, he's a good guy, but he just needs a little work. If he was just a little more like this and a little less like that, and I'm going to make that happen. What's up with that?
That's a great question.
Go first.
Again, depends on what man and what woman. Perhaps we all have that caring for one another. Or I'm going to answer this differently, but it could be a spectrum, right? From the spectrum of, oh, this is almost my fit, but then I'm going to transform that and that, and I'll change him over time. But sometimes it doesn't come with a bad intent. It can come from the one that wants to become a savior, right? I'm going to save him from being an alcoholic, or I'm going to save him from himself, whatever it is. Might be that it comes from a real good intent. Other times it can come from manipulation or just not knowing what your needs are. But in any case, I feel that it's driven up to, it will go to failure.
Agreed.
If it's not, coming from a true heart space of allowing the other to evolve as they want to evolve, not as that what you want them to evolve. I definitely want relationships where men are able to constantly evolve until they die. If that doesn't happen, I will find that not interesting. But that doesn't mean with me directing the show.
Gotcha.
Right.
Thank you. And JC, do you have a question?
Oh, let's see. I'll give you a softball. How about is
Well, I
cut?
can have you take a wild card.
Let's do a wild card.
Take
Let's
a
do
wild card.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. Oh, what is the most erotic place on a woman's body? Either one of you. Cassandra.
Wow. I think it's my overall skin, the touch. That's so important to me. Even if just a really light, soft, where you're just touching my hairs, that can send my whole body into a whole wow. And I think we need to spend more attention to that, like sucking on my toes and touching parts behind my legs is so amazing. And I think the more that people realize that, it's just not, you stick the penis in and we'll just get it over with. That
Bam, bam, thank you, ma'am.
exactly. That's really a waste of time.
That's a great answer.
I could get a vibrator.
From a male's perspective, I love the nape of a woman's
They
neck.
don't complain.
I just think it's very, very sensual and very erotic, just in any
Yes.
woman. Just when they have their hair pulled up and you see that nape, and just to kiss it lightly, and like you're
Yes.
saying, I think
Very
is
good.
a real turn on.
Yes.
And Cassandra, will you take a wild card?
Sure, right here?
No, on that, right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
I believe that's them.
Why? something anger. Why is there anger when you are not able to perform?
I don't think it's anger. For me, I guess it would be embarrassed. I've never had that issue.
I never have either.
Let's just put that out there, ladies. But to be serious, it's more, I think, not anger. It's more, I think, what you're seeing would be frustration or embarrassment. That you're in the moment. This is what you both feel like you want, but then it's not happening. So that's would be my answer to that.
Do you feel you have to have an orgasm every time that you have?
Oh no! I feel completed sometimes giving the woman an orgasm. Just making sure, seeing that she has the orgasm is more enjoyment than I need sometimes. I mean, it's just ecstatic. So I feel like I've done a good job. And I'm a dog, so that's important to me.
Loyal that way.
Loyal that way.
Okay. And Fern, do you have a question you would like to ask?
Yes, I would like to ask JC, because you've been married for 39 years, so that's quite a record. So I want to ask, how do you keep the relationship, the sexual relationship with your partner fresh?
That can be a challenge, and it's definitely been a challenge in our relationship over the years. And I'll tell you honestly that we have times where it gets dull. We both don't put the energy into making it stay fresh, and that's my experience is for myself, and I think my partner would agree, is that it takes both of us consciously making an effort to keep it fresh, to come up with ideals and not let it become stale. But when you get, like when we had our kids, and it's real easy to get distracted. You're being a parent every day, you're working on top of that, and then trying to make that connection for one another. But we found it important, and we try to remind ourselves during this time periods that we needed to be a good role model for our kids. So we had to really pay attention to that and try to make that time and be conscious of creating that time to show our love for one another, because in doing that, our kids saw that, hey, this is the way a relationship works, or should work. So it's work.
Yes.
It is conscious work.
But you've got a successful.
I feel like it. Yeah, we're stronger now after 39 years, in my opinion, than we've ever been. And I think my partner would agree with that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it feels beautiful.
And Becken, would you take a wild card?
Oh, sure. Which pile do I get
In
to
the
choose
middle.
from?
You didn't put yours back on top, did you? Oh, okay.
Okay, mine's blank, so that.
No, we do. I can say something. Only for Becken. Oh my goodness.
Are you able to let a woman have multiple orgasms before me? Well, yeah. I mean,
Duh.
absolutely. That's a kind of,
That's an easy one, huh?
ideally, especially if you're into any form of spiritual tantric sex, not the pop tantric sex that floats around, but conscious sexuality with a woman where the man is making love to help the woman open and open and open and open, and the more deeply she opens, the more he's enveloped by her divine feminine energy, and the more he softens and softens until you join each other in ecstasy as one. So going to the highest level with it, yeah. In that case, the woman can have as many orgasms as she's capable of, or the man can give her, and the man needs to hold back, hold back, hold back, hold back, until it's like, okay, we're there. And when we're there and we're joined as one, now, it may even be irrelevant at that point to the man, but definitely yes.
That's delicious.
Ladies, if someone doesn't take this, man, I will.
I'm like, wow.
That one was on the palate.
Yummy, yum.
Yum, yum. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love it. And Cassandra, would you like to ask a question?
Sure. Is a woman's body attractive with rolls and curves, or should all women be thin?
My wife and I joke about this all the time. I always tell her I like a little meat on my women, and that's true. I think it's very sensuous and sensual, and can be very erotic. A woman's curves, I love the hourglass figure, nice curves on it and everything. It's important to me.
Little bounce to the wall.
Little cushion for the pushing.
Thank you for sharing. I love that.
PG.
And JC, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Is role playing an important part of the sexual experience for you? Either one of you?
Well, I say yes. Who says yes? Anybody else? No? Yes?
Yes.
Let's take a vote. Yes?
Yes,
Cassandra?
yes.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
You got 3 yeses, my man.
Yeah, she kind of
So
hesitated.
why?
a
Yes,
little.
I
Is there-
saw that too.
Well, what kind of role playing? You mean like
Anything that might come up.
I'm a police officer with
Yeah,
my
it
badge and my
could be,
baton? Be fun.
Yeah.
So have you done that type of?
Oh yes.
Okay. Okay.
I would say if it comes authentically. If you
Yes.
have to act it, it's
Yeah.
like trying to dance to bad music.
Oh!
I like that.
Excellent.
I'd prefer the samba myself.
I like that salsa.
Yeah.
That is
And I
true.
think that's what attracts people to have affairs or just have sex with somebody that night because of that role play. And I don't like giving out numbers or where I live or those kind of things. It's nice just to do it and get the fantasy. And just, it's fun. It's really fun. Sex is great. There's just so many headaches about it, but it's really okay.
in America. I agree with Fern. When I was younger, I was a little insulted when men would always ask me to dress up. Would you put this on? Would you do that? And then in return, they didn't do anything. I like the authenticity, that there's a sharing, that we're both in this vibration. And yes, you can feel that flow of it, but yeah, it for me was insulting when that's all they wanted. There's a limitation to that, so, yeah. And Beckham, would you like to ask a question?
Sure. Are you willing to compromise and how much in a relationship?
Oh.
Compromise what?
What?
Ah.
Says
soul.
the woman.
Like,
not
if
the
it's
soul.
going to be about compromising my values, no.
Okay.
Is it going to be about compromising in regards to if you have this need that I'm not comfortable with, am I able to stretch that? Again, if it's within integrity and within my values, I probably will. And I might take some time. Like if you would ask me suddenly, hey, I would want to have another partner. Would that fit with you? Well, that would depend on how strong we are. That would depend with whom. That would depend on our agreements. That would depend, so it's a big context, right? It's a big spectrum. Like, would I be able to compromise you pissing out of the toilet? Well, yeah. But would it be to compromise to have another partner or to do a certain act or to, it will have to be subjective to this particular experience.
Let me frame it this way. Relationships are give and take. And we come together as a couple. There has to be some give and take. And I understand that you can't give yourself away totally, but how much are you willing to compromise?
Can you, in what frame of thinking?
It could be in any frame of, say that you're with a partner and they're not intellectually as competent as you are. Are you willing to compromise there? Say you're with a partner who almost meets your physical desires, but you're not quite. Are you willing to compromise? Someone who doesn't, you have a certain value system around money, perhaps, and they don't make quite as much money as you'd like. Are you willing to compromise? I'm just, tossing
Oh
it out
yes,
there.
I'm very, yes.
When the heart resonates, I think the heart resonates, and there are some things that go out the window. About a week ago, I started a list of what type of man would I like. It's a very long list, and you asked me that question specifically. And I know when my heart resonates, it has to be a spiritual consciousness that we vibrate on, and many would go out the window. Does he have a stocky, I like meat on my man. Okay, I'll compromise it. There's a vibration, there's a passion there, so yes. Thank you for the question. And Cassandra?
Sure. Well, I think we've kind of asked this, but how do you like to be to be told from a woman when you're not meeting her needs? And are you able to learn if a woman wants you to teach you?
You have to be willing to learn. I mean, that's basic. If you're not willing to learn, you can't grow. If you can't grow in a relationship, the relationship can't grow, and it's going to get stagnant and die eventually. So yeah, I have to be willing to learn. That's where I come from anyway.
May I rephrase the question to you,
Yeah.
Beckon? When you were younger and that happened to you, did it ever bruise your ego as a young man? I found that when I was younger, it was difficult. They got very upset and offended that they weren't good enough when I tried to add instruction.
No, I never felt that.
Okay.
For me, it was like, thank you. Because as a young man, women were more of a mystery to me then than they are now, although they're still fairly mysterious. And, you know, I love the phrase from someone who said, and asked, do you understand women? And he said, no. He said, but I try my best to enjoy them. So I don't pretend to understand women completely. And coming from that place, it's like, help me, babe. Help me. Help me understand who you are. Help me what you need. You know, help me understand who you are. Help me understand in this moment, because I find that women they can run more like the wind. Men can be a little steadier, but women's emotions can run like the wind. And one night she's passionate and she's all over me, and the next night it's like, hey, could you just take it easy, please? You know, I'm kind of like not in that space I was last night. So help me, and I will learn with you then, yeah, and then we can grow together.
I think it kind of depends for me how the instruction's related to me. You know, if she has her black leather outfit on and her riding crop, I'm much more likely to respond to her.
I love it. Instead of that little red, little tutu.
Well, I find that some men think that they're great lovers and they don't need instruction.
It's very dangerous for men to come into that
Especially
space.
alpha males, or a lot of alpha males are like
Because I've met several men in my life who thought that, and when I was in confidence with their women behind their backs, the women were shaking their head like, no way. So you gotta be really careful as a man thinking that you're Don Juan.
Usually when I thought, in my experience has been when I thought I've had it figured out, I was way off base.
Really?
My girlfriends and I would go out and we would start watching the young men if we would go out to like a party or club. And if they're doing the walking, they cannot do the talking. But some of the young talk about what they're going to give us and do for us. I'm going, but I tried it once in the experience, so I learned they don't do the talking. Yeah. So, and Fern, would you like to ask a question? There is a wild card if you choose.
That's for any of you, and it's about what do you need in order to be in full truth and authenticity with a woman?
Well, I need to have reciprocated, that I need to feel like she's being in truth and authentic with me, and that we're meeting on a level playing field, and that we're both being authentic with one another. That's a pretty simple answer for me, I think. That's what I need.
For me, it's more complex.
You're a complex guy.
What I need is I need to be seen down to the bottom of my soul. And I need to know that it's okay for me to let out the deepest part of myself, and it's safe. Because frequently what I run into in relationship is it's okay physically, it's okay emotionally, it's okay mentally, but when I get into the mystical side of me, into the spiritual side, then all of a sudden judgment comes up, fear comes up on the woman's part, and it's just all of a sudden this starts to break down, and I feel like, okay, it's not safe then for me to let out my really big self, my true self, which is my spiritual self. And I want to know that it's safe to let it all come out, and it'll be okay.
Could you give us some examples what you mean by that?
I've run into situations where people had set beliefs. Either they followed a guru or a spiritual teacher, or they had a specific religion they were plugged into. And I'd start, not knowing even, I would start to let a side out of myself that didn't agree, that challenged their religion or challenged their guru's teaching. And what would come back to me is, I'm wrong. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is who I am. I'm not wrong, this is who I am. But the judgment comes that no, my belief is right, and if you challenge that, you can't be right. Well, beliefs to me are negotiable. In my lifetime, my beliefs have kept expanding and growing and changing as I expand and grow and change. So I want someone who, to be in relationship with a woman where it's safe for me to express those things, and even if it doesn't align with her beliefs, she goes, that's okay. I see who you are and I can accept that.
And
Perfect.
I want to add a little to that
Yes.
because it's like the place of feeling safe is so important for both, right? For the women and the men. And especially when the things get tough is when the truths are hidden. You know, it's the saying that truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's this
can.
moment where you go, it's like, can I tell you the truth? Yeah, sure, you can tell me the truth. And then in the moment you tell the truth, it's like, whack, you know, cut your head off. And so that is something we need to look into. You know, how safe do I feel to hear that truth? And how safe do you feel to tell the truth? Because if that is broken one time, then it's very difficult to recover it.
Yes.
Well
Once
said.
trust is broken, it's very difficult to,
Very
to
difficult
recover
to get
that
back.
trust. Yeah, it's well
That
said.
could be a
It
whole
is.
show.
Yes,
Just on
all about
trust.
On trust, yeah.
Wow. Now we have a couple minutes left, and again, I want to thank RVTV crew. They have been beautiful. They're here volunteering their time. We appreciate them every single moment, and also the space that RVTV opens up here for young producers like myself. If you're interested, please come down and share your time. See what we're up to. I want to thank my guests, each and every one of them, and quickly, let's add, what's a great thing you bring into the relationship? I bring an open heart. What's your power?
I'm loving.
Presence.
Oh, you stole it.
Loyalty.
It's presence.
No, say.
Definitely.
How about another one?
Oh, universal love.
It's beautiful. And then last is when we're here as men and women, our desires change each and every time, each and every day. So let's be open to what do we want, as Beckon shared. Maybe it will evolve, and let's be open to change always. Thank you for joining me. I am sending you love always. This is True Talks with Jasmine.
True Talks, True Talks.
True Talks, True Talks.